If you're selling in Canberra, you've probably wondered what makes the difference between a standard offer and a breakout result. Spoiler, it's not luck, it's process. I'm Steve Lowe from Agent Team. I've sold nearly 100 properties a year in Canberra for the past decade, many at 110 to 120% of their estimated value, even in down markets. And I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. But first, let me explain why selling above market is even possible in Canberra, because the market here is different to everywhere else. There are two prices for every property. The first is comparative market value. That's where we compare your property against others that have actually sold. Not what's advertised for sale, but what's actually transacted. This is tricky because no two properties are the same. But then there's market value, your comparative value improved through strategic marketing and presentation. Think about why you pay more for a bottle of Evian water. It's not because it's from some magical spring that doesn't exist. You pay more because of the marketing applied to that bottle of water. The same principle applies to your property. So here are the levers you can pull to sell above market in Canberra. Lever number one, choose the right agent. This sounds obvious, but most people get this wrong. In Canberra, you're spoilt for choice. There are 1,500 real estate agents for 400,000 people. But top performing agents are willing to have difficult conversations up front because they know it optimizes your sale price. There are agents who are scared to tell owners their house isn't marketable because of the bright green feature walls they've painted. They avoid the conversation. Then when the property doesn't sell for what the owners expect, it's because those crucial conversations never happened. Look for agents in the top 10 in Canberra. They're transacting between 60 to 130 properties per year, so they're obviously doing something right. Lever number two, make it turnkey ready. Sellers often say to me, Steve, I don't want to paint because the buyer might not like the color we repaint anyway. That thinking is backwards. If you don't do the work, you'll attract fewer buyers, and the buyers that you do attract will allocate part of their budget to fixing those issues. They're thinking, how much can we save instead of how much are we willing to pay? A property that's turnkey, where a buyer can turn the key, walk in and start living, will always outperform one that hasn't had the work done. We look at basics like fresh paint inside and out, new flooring, updated lighting, and fixing obvious defects from the building report. You might invest $10,000 to $15,000, but on $1 million property, that can increase the value by $30,000 to $40,000. Lever number three, price to create competition. When we're setting a price guide, we know roughly where the property will sell and we communicate that clearly. If you price it too high, you get 0 phone calls, 0 emails, and no one shows up to the first open home. It's really hard to negotiate with thin air. But if you price it conservatively, you might get 50 people through the first open home and 10 people making offers. That competition drives the price up to true market value or above. You're much better off being conservative and selling within the first few weeks. The longer a property sits on the market, the less a buyer expects to pay because they start to wonder, what's wrong with it? Lever number four, invest in high exposure marketing. I've tried every marketing tool out there. Video tours, 360 tours, drone photography, but it all comes down to the basics done really, really well. Your property has to pass the online test first. People couch surf properties scrolling through photos, and if there's just that one photo that deters them, poor lighting or that bright feature wall again, they won't come to the open home. Professional photography shot on a clear, sunny day with proper lighting is crucial, and don't underestimate that property brochure. Serious buyers collect brochures from Saturday opens, take them home, spread them on the kitchen table, and start marking up the floor plans, and that keeps your property top of mind. For advertising, do not cut corners. All Homes is number one in Canberra. 70% of our buyer inquiry comes from All Homes. Yes, it costs $2,000, and cheaper alternatives might save you $1,500, but you'll discount your sale price by potentially $20,000 to $30,000. Lever number five, work with buyers and not against them. Buyers don't like salespeople, and they don't like real estate agents, and they don't like feeling manipulated. They want to talk to a real human. I work closely with buyers to help them understand the process. A confident buyer moves forward. A buyer who feels like they're having the wool pulled over their eyes doesn't. Negotiation is really just problem solving. I just sold a house where I had to help the buyer figure out what his current house might sell for, what his Manly investment property might sell for, and then create a timeline where he could pay our seller's target price while getting the settlement terms that he needed to transact. Remember, an offer isn't just about the dollar amount. It's about the price, the terms, and the settlement. We might have one offer for, say, $700,000 cash with a quick settlement, and another for $730,000 subject to finance with a 120-day settlement. Which offer would you take? The mistake people make. They think negotiation is about tactics and scripts, but buyers see right through that. Being genuine and straight to the point works better than any sales technique. And lever number 6, understand supply and demand timing. We had a house in Jerebombra that took 4 months to sell instead of our usual 3 to 4 weeks. It had a quirky floor plan that buyers couldn't quite get their heads around, but what actually sold it was timing. When it was first on the market, there were lots of other properties in that area and buyers had too many choices. Towards the end of the campaign, suddenly 4 people wanted it all at the same time. When I asked why now, they said, we need to buy something and there's nothing else on the market. Less supply meant demand increased and we ended up in a multiple offer situation. Now, if you've pulled all 6 of these levers and have done everything right and your property still hasn't sold, there's only one thing left it could be, and that is the price. If you've invested in proper presentation and you've got great marketing and you're working with a top performing agent who's selling other properties, then none of that is the issue. It's always price, and a lot of sellers refuse to believe that. The problem is they're chewing up their time on market, which means that when you do finally make that decision, you'll have to reduce the price even further. So that's just something to keep in mind. Look, these levers work, but here's the reality. Every property, every seller, and every market situation is different. This is the framework, but how you apply the framework needs to be tailored to your specific situation. When I work with sellers, we do extensive discovery. When are you wanting to move? When do you need to sell this property? What's your target price? Are you willing to invest in the optimization process, such as cosmetic renovations? For example, I'm working with clients who want to move to Queensland right now. They don't want to spend money on the property and they don't really want to go to market, but they want a great sale price. That combination, it usually doesn't work, but we've developed a specific strategy using our database of 15,000 people and our network of buyers agents to find them pre-market opportunities. The point is, there's no one-size-fits-all approach, but there is a proven process. We do nearly 100 sales a year and apply this process to every single transaction. Everything else, when we follow our process, delivers an optimized sale outcome. As a seller, you know there's nothing else you could have done to get a better result. If you're thinking about selling in Canberra and want to know how these levers apply to your specific situation, reach out to us at Agent Team. And if this helped you understand what it really takes to sell above market in Canberra, hit that like button and subscribe for more straight talking property advice. Thanks for watching.